Hey, Charles.
Hey, Ed. Hey.
Look who got a haircut.
Yeah, I got all of them cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're recording, so you can protect yourself from me saying something in return.
Aha!
Aha!
You checked it. You checked first, huh?
No, I checked that stuff.
Yeah. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. You gotta check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Is that your new camera?
No, it's actually the old camera.
Huh.
So I bought the Air. What was it? MacBook, right? Just a today's modern day MacBook, the super thin one, and loved it. Thought it was a great machine. Sucked at video. No, it didn't really suck. It was not fast enough for me. If I were doing 2-minute clips, 3-minute clips, 10-minute clips, it would have been a beautiful machine. It handled video really well. The compression time was decent, but when you got up into 30-minute, hour clip, 2-hour clips, it really that's where it really started to lag. The bigger the clip, the more time it took. It was taking like an hour clip. It was going to take like 2.5 hours to render. Yeah.
That's kind of weird. It sounds like it wasn't threading or something.
Yeah. You would think. I mean, it's supposed to ramp up, the CPU
Utilization.
Utilization when it's under a load. And like I said, I mean, it did really well. I did some speed tests. I had my old 2013 MacBook Air, my current 2014 14 MacBook Pro, which is issued to me from Perk, and then this brand new machine, this 2016 MacBook. And
that sounds a lot like you were memory constrained.
Maybe, but I had the same amount of memory in in each machine. They all had.
You did?
Yeah, okay. They all had 8 gig. So the MacBook was actually, CPU wise, was actually a little behind the 2013 MacBook Air. So
wait. The new MacBook had less horses than
the 2013 MacBook Air. Yeah. But it's super light. It has no fan.
There you go. That's why.
Yeah, it doesn't have.
Once you go with a fanless model, now I know what happened.
It's heat.
You can't throttle up CPU utilization to the max on a fanless model. You just can't do it.
Right, because electronics don't do well.
My guess is that was a Haswell processor, and the Haswell has a significant flaw in that if it hits a certain temperature point, it throttles back all of the cores.
Mm-hmm.
So I bet if you had watched your core ratios or your frequencies, you would have seen a dip at some point when the CPUs got too hot.
So what you're telling me is I need a bag of ice.
Well, really, the deal is fanless. You can never. I don't really. That's why I like a desktop PC.
Yeah. Because
it may get loud, but I got a fan, so I can do something about the heat. With the fanless models, you are. I mean, as good as the conduction is to the case.
Yeah.
The case will eventually get hot too.
Right.
And then your ratio goes way down as far as conductivity.
Well, I tell you, from a consumer standpoint, the fanless thing was a big selling point because it was just beautiful to be able to use that thing and never, even when it was rendering video, to never have a fan kick on.
Yeah. No, I mean.
But I know what you're saying.
Short bursts, so they're gonna when they highlight this, they're gonna go, look, a 30-second clip.
Yeah. Yeah, and all of their demo clips that come with Final Cut Pro are like 2-minute clips, 3-minute clips max. Right. So yeah, you can probably.
They're probably right on the threshold where they go, oh geez.
Yeah.
falls off a cliff, you know.
Probably, and that makes sense, right?
Because I did that stuff when I was at Intel, and that's one of the things that I definitely remember us running into. Is
what's crazy? I mean, if you're going to do a 3-minute clip, 5-minute clips, or even bringing together a few 3-minute clips in order to create a longer clip, these days you can just do all that stuff right on your phone or right on your iPad. You just there's not even. Because by the time you get
to transfer to a real machine, you've got a real machine already.
Yeah, by the time you get it off to the other machine and you get everything all set up, and you're just, you could have just put it all into iMovie on an iPhone or an iPad and just rendered it out, which sounds really crazy because iMovie on the desktop is terrible. I mean, it wants to pre-render everything. Importing things in is a real pain, and then it's pretty slow to export. But Final Pro fixes that. $300 later.
$600 later. $300 to fix a lot of things.
Yeah, right. And even then, when you get the Final Cut Pro, you really need to buy Compressor, which is their $50 add-on, because then you can really compress the video file down to, smaller files.
Those add-ons. That's the business I got to get into. Low cost for the base model. They need to get the add-ons. Hey, I got to step away for just a minute. I know you're just getting ready to start, but I'm going to be vacant for just a moment.
Okay. It may just be us.
Ditch is going to take over for me.
Yeah, it may just be us.
I think my audio is not working.
Scott, your camera's not working?
My audio, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I thought my audio wasn't working.
Yeah, I don't see you on the camera, though. But that's, you may have chosen not to do that.
Yeah, I've chosen. I'm eating pizza right now, so.
Oh, nice. Did you bring enough for everybody?
Unless you want to drive up to Tulsa.
Depends on what kind of pizza it is.
Well, you're not sharing your food with us? Because, I'm sharing my bowl of soup here with everybody and my Apocalypse 10 barrel.
He says we have to come up to Tulsa to get it, but I'm, depending on the type of pizza it is, I might take him up on that.
So Brazil, you're a traveling man.
Yeah. So tomorrow, 7 p.m.-ish Central Time, I get on a plane to go to Brazil. Going to Rio. Gonna go there. It's a 12-hour flight, so I get on a plane at 7 at night, and I don't get off until. Well, it's not a straight flight. I go to Houston, and then I go to Rio.
That's funny. You're in Texas, but Texas is so big that you got to get off at another airport in Texas.
Right.
I was going to say, you're lucky to be in Texas because Texas has a lot of straight flights.
No. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, not so much. And Sean's coming too. Sean Head from engineering. He's coming too. So he's got to fly from Palo Alto to Miami and then to Rio.
Oh, the other way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But it all works out because you're kind of, as he pointed out, you're flying the curve there. You're flying the ball, right?
Right.
So it all works out. We wind up going to the same place. So without too much overlap, I think I get there 2 hours after he does, but I don't know that he may leave 2 hours before I do. I don't know. So
well, just tell him to get all the bug fixes in before he leaves.
Yeah, right. Well, there's a new public release, right? So,
I can't talk, actually. I submitted a thing, and then it turns out they'd fixed it like 2 releases before, and I was the engineer test with the latest release.
Oh.
So.
That's funny.
Well, it wasn't a bug. I didn't submit a bug. I submitted a request for a feature, and then they came back to me and said, hey, that's kind of sounds like you should make that a bug. Then I go, okay, you know what? I'm going to double check this. Wait a minute. It's fixed.
Oh.
What was it?
Okay, it's still not official, I don't think, but adaptive scaling is while not officially supported on OS X and Windows, it works fine in Windows. But until recently, it didn't quite. There were a few issues on OS X, but specifically what it was it swapped the X and Y coordinates when you did a resize. That's the best way I can describe it.
Wow.
X and Y positioning of objects got swapped. So the whole display kind of like freaked out. And then I could fix that. I was like, I'm just going to work around this. So I worked around it. And then there was one more bug, which was the native elements did the same thing, and there was no way to fix it. It's like they rescaled wrong and they moved. So it's like all your text fields got all goofed up. It was just terrible, which affected me for the code generation tool, EAT, which is getting a new name soon, but because I had resizing it on there, and so you could fit on your screen, and I wanted it to be resizable, but I couldn't do it for OS X. So I ended up having to make 2 different versions of the app, like for people with small screens and people with large screens, which was then I'm cutting it right down the middle and like not making anybody happy.
Right.
So, anyways,
but you found that was fixed or not fixed?
It is in fact fixed. It was fixed in version 2886.
Oh, okay.
We're now 2906, the official release or the public release has got it,
Gotcha.
Which is good. Excellent.
Cool. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff coming out. There was a bunch of things came out in the new public release.
I can't even keep up with all that. There's so many new ways to do monetization.
It's crazy. I think we're kind of got.
Not a bad thing. I'm not complaining.
No, because there was historically there was a point where people were very upset that there wasn't more options for monetization, and now there's definitely.
I'm actually really really happy with 2 of them. I'm sorry I cut you off there, but Kiddos is very intriguing. I haven't used it yet.
Yeah.
But for monetizing for kids,
mm-hmm.
And the more recent one, which was it was about giving people credit or something like that. I'm gonna go look it up now to get this right.
Giving people credit for like in-game credit sort of stuff, or
accreditation. That's the wrong word.
Attribution.
Attribution.
Yeah, Kochava.
Yeah, Kochava.
Yeah. I think that's
exactly. That is also a very interesting plugin.
Scott, you know what we're talking about?
Yeah, I saw that. That was like the analytics thing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, yeah. If you're following the blog, you'll see all that. I'm surprised by how many people don't see stuff on the blog.
Yeah, I try to read that every day. Well, weekday. You guys usually post things every weekday.
Yeah, we try to push out as much as is reasonable. Here lately, it seems like there's something that goes out just almost every day, just about.
Yeah, it does seem like that. The blog seems to have a new entry almost every day.
Yeah. I mean, there was kind of a time there where we kind of in a rhythm where it was Corona Geek, and then it was Tuesday tutorial, and then it was something else, and then there was from the forums, Yep. Yeah, and it kind of over and over and over again. But now it's all kind of stuff. I mean, we're going to Pocket Gamer, and there's Corona Geek, and there's new plugins, and from the forums, and then there's case studies. And
I also like personally the offer wall.
Yeah,
I've been reading on monetization, and one of the themes that keeps coming up with successful monetization is the ability to offer more than one reward choice.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you can get like different levels of rewards all in their face at the same time.
Well, yeah, and I think it keeps people from being burned out, right? We've talked about this before on the show, that you get that same video over and over and over again, right?
Oh, you don't like that video with the Bajangas?
Yeah. And at some point, you're just like, you just get tired. You don't want to play. It's like getting hit in the head every time, right?
Makes me want to join a fantasy army.
And you don't. You just don't want to play. You don't even want to open that app anymore because you're like, okay, I'm going to see that ad again. So yeah, you're right. Mixing it up I think is a good idea. With this personally, I haven't dug into it a whole lot. Can you show your own stuff?
I'm totally just getting into it now.
Oh, okay.
With the fact that I know that there was a fixed major bug, what I consider for me a major bug fix, which was the adaptive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Allows me to do a new release of EAT frameworks, and when I do that, I'm going to add more of these monetization schemes. So I'm going through the motions of understanding them now.
Okay. Yeah, here we go.
The long answer is I'm working on it.
Right.
That's the short answer. You heard the long one.
Yeah. It looks like it's mainly offers, right? So it's an offer wall. It says offer walls provide the user an opportunity to do something, take a survey, install another app, sign up for a magazine, provide some personal information, etc. In exchange, the user gets rewarded with some form of in-app currency like gems, coins, tokens, credits, etc. So I don't see it.
I did look into their site a little bit. If you go to the blog post and you kind of look at that picture, the impression I got was you could set up different reward levels for different actions, that's to me crucial.
Yeah.
It's like really giving people the option to vary things a little bit. Here you got a 5-second activity, you got a 10-second activity, something like that. There's got to be a reason why these things are worth more or less.
Right. I'm going to share my screen. Is that the right one?
I think I also wonder, I'm just totally guessing now because I haven't done my research, but I'm wondering if that also doesn't let the different people, the different companies that are like providing these, like for example, they've got a picture here, Total Domination, Last of Them. Okay, yeah, so there you go. You got these different values, right? Whoops, there it goes. Doggone it. My point is you know how different companies will compete with each other to get their ads first.
Right.
So maybe this is a way for them to compete by saying, hey, look, I'm going to make it worth more money to you, the guy who made the app, and I'm going to give more points to the user if they click on this. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if that's not how this works, because if it did, that'd be totally brilliant, because that'd be a hands-off approach, and it'd be letting you take advantage of the ad sellers competing with each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, sort of. I mean, people are paying money to show their ad.
Guessing though. Maybe I shouldn't guess out loud if people are like, oh, that's how it works.
Right. No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either. But
I don't know. I got to figure this out. Anyways, my mind goes to start filling in the blanks when I haven't read the documentation yet. So.
Right. Yeah. What I think the big takeaway for me is that each ad provider is trying, like we saw a wave of standard ad providers, right? Banner ads, interstitials. Then we saw video. Then we got into rewarded video, right? Watch this video and earn some things. Now we're getting into, even more creative things like offer walls and things
micro
like that.
games.
Yeah, micro games, and I mean, I think it's interesting to see advertising options coming on the market that are experimenting. I want to see more of that, because we definitely have to get to a more interactive state of being in the app monetization space.
What about Corona cards? Were you guys going to do advertising for that still?
Well, Corona cards is an interesting animal. I mean, it originally was designed with this idea that agencies, like advertising agencies, might want to do a campaign. But they wouldn't necessarily be programmers, so they could, you put Corona into just about anything, right? They could stick it into just about any platform. And at the time, we were developing Composer GUI as sort of the front end tool that would be what you would use to sort of drag and drop things and be part of the Corona cards, implementation. But now it's just kind of this thing that you can use to put into different projects and stuff. But it really doesn't have a direction, I don't think. It's just kind of been made available and is still available, but it's not really clear as to like how people are using it. I don't know if that answered your question.
Oh yeah, that answered my question.
Okay. But you can use it to create a mini game, and then you could put that mini game into any other thing, right? So you could use it for advertising, and then based on the user's interaction, you could award different things to the user. But I haven't seen a clear example of that. So I don't know. I don't think it's up to its full potential.
When Corona Cards was first when it was on the table for consideration as a product, David Rangel.
Yep, David Rangel. Yeah, I was agreeing with you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. He came to me and asked me to do a demo app. Now, they didn't have Corona Cards, so it was actually just a Corona app, but it was supposed to simulate what the advertiser would be able to produce, and it was for, I think, like Johnson & Johnson or something like that. And basically, what he had me do was a rich ad. So the idea being is that this would come up like any other interstitial, but it would be highly interactive, like an application. So I just kind of find it ironic that, not ironic, but I find it interesting that now I'm seeing a lot of these sort of like micro games and rich interactive interstitials.
Yeah,
that's the area where Corona Cards could be used.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly it. I think at this point, there's just not a clear, as you say, like a clear use case, right? If there was like an example that said, hey, Johnson & Johnson, and you play this mini game, and then that was like a rich ad. I mean, almost, if you will, go to like a flash, an interactive flash thing, right? That you could. Yeah,
actually, we based it off of their interactive flash advertisement,
right,
at the time.
Right. Yeah, but you're being able to compile that as a native application as opposed to like a flash player type deal. And if you think of Corona Cards also from the standpoint of you want as many people to use your platform as possible, so why not make it available to other platforms, right? And then whatever that person's use case is, they say, hey, let's use Corona for that. We can use Corona Cards. We can stick it in this project, and we're done, right? Maybe they're doing Objective-C, and they're not familiar with GameKit or any of those other tools, and they're like, hey, that's maybe that's too complicated or whatever. And then they say, hey, we'll do this in Corona, and then we'll stick it in our project, and we're done, right? So I don't know. It's just another way to kind of get in front of people right now, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's got all the benefits of Corona, which is super high speed, lightweight, creation of rich content. I mean, you can really quickly. It didn't take me any time at all. If we just put it in terms of Corona, it didn't take any time at all for me to reproduce their flash advertisement, which I'm sure that the first time they did it was like massive amount of effort, unless the person was a total expert. But maybe they were. Maybe the person they had to do it was a total expert. But to me, it seemed like it was a lot of work to make that application, and then in Corona it was just several hundred lines of code.
Right. Yeah, and with something like a Composer GUI, where you could drag and drop stuff onto the assets onto the screen, then that would have been even easier, right? So you could have.
But everybody knows I love Corona, so I'll stop.
Yeah. Yeah,
I just love Corona. So what are we going to talk about tonight besides Brazil and rich hands?
So I want to talk about Pocket Gamer Connect. We just got back from Pocket Gamer Connect in Vancouver. That was a really interesting experience because so far, I've been to GDC a couple of times. I've been to E3. I've been to Apps World a couple of times. I've been to some other events that I can't remember at the moment, but most of them have been big events with lots of foot traffic, and you only get to spend a few minutes, maybe a minute, a couple of minutes with someone because they're coming by. They ask you what's Corona. You give them the spiel. You kind of find out what it is that they're doing, and then they're off to the next thing, right? Because they've got stuff to look at as well, and they don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, if you don't move fast at GDC, you have no hope of seeing everything.
No, really. I mean, you really have to move, and even then, you wind up making circles and going back and seeing the things that you want, but it's a lot to take in. So. With Pocket Gamer, at least Pocket Gamer Connect here in Vancouver, was much smaller, which meant that we could actually have conversations with people, right? You could stand and talk 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes with somebody, which was great. So you could go up to their booth. You could go up to there was a lot of indie developers there who were showing off their games, and a lot of them were there for the big indie pitch. And you could go and you could talk with them, and you could see what it was that they were doing, and what their pain points were, and how their development experience had been, and what they had put into their game, what their ideas were, and stuff like that. And it was just more intimate, just a more personal experience. And so that was a lot of fun. And so we did the very big indie pitch, which, if you hadn't been to one of those, is really interesting because you basically, I don't know what the qualifications are for getting in, but we saw a whole range of apps, everything from something that was polished, looked like it was ready to go, to things that looked like they had just finished, kind of snapping them together. So we saw 21 apps. And I got to sit in on the judging because Raj had a meeting that he had to go to. So that was fun for me. I got to participate in that. And I think there were maybe like 15 judges or so. So 15 judges looking at 21 apps. And so basically you had, 3 judges at a table, and they gave you about 3 minutes to look at each app. So each judge got about a minute. So as soon as the person walked up, you had to say, okay, well, because you had these little sheets that you had to keep track of everything. And you wrote down, okay, what's the name of your company? What's the name of your app? What's your name? And then you get a little square, a little rectangle that you could scribble notes in. And the developer just had to pitch their stuff. Like, as soon as you're ready, you say, okay, go. And so here's a couple of takeaways that I got from that. One is, if you're going to participate in one of these things, you got to put the game in the judge's hand right away, because you only have 3 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. So you can't say, well, the backstory to this is, and then my brother said,
and then I had a beer.
Yeah, you gotta as soon as you sit down, have that app ready to go, put it in the judge's hand, and then let them play it. And then talk to them, because if you don't have enough test devices, only one judge is looking at it, right? So you can talk to the other judges, and the judge who's playing can multitask. They can listen and play at the same time.
And hog the one device.
Well, yeah, and then they'll pass it around. We were pretty good to each other by passing it around and getting everybody a chance to play it. But but that was really important. And the other thing I would say is, if you're going to bring devices, you got to clean your devices.
Yeah.
The presentation is everything, right? And the whole thing. It's not just the game. You gotta like brush your hair. You gotta clean your device. Yeah, you gotta clean your device.
Wish for some mouthwash, for God's sake.
Just use toilet. Just use your toilet to clean it.
Oh, right. There you go. Yeah, you didn't see my post, did you, when I was there? They say in Vancouver, they recycle their water so that they're environmentally friendly. And so the water in the toilets at the convention center were non-potable, so you weren't supposed to drink the water. And I was like,
well, you're not supposed to drink out of the toilet.
As if I were going to drink out of the toilet. So I don't know. Maybe there's a zombie attack, and I'm like, hey, I'm really thirsty. Oh, look, the water's not potable. I shouldn't drink it out of the toilet.
You're killing me with this whole thing. Please stop with the potable.
Potable.
Toilet water is non-potable regardless. Okay. I don't care if it's a zombie apocalypse or not.
Well, they were nice enough to put a sign. That's all I'm saying. Everybody there was very nice.
That's great. You're groaning me out. Just I've dealt with that exactly. People hand you their computer or their device, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
You're trying not to make a face. You're trying to be professional about it, but
right. So so clean your device, and then get right to the point. Right, just get right to it, and if something doesn't go right, just fix it, right? Just don't make a big deal out of it. Just fix it and move on. And so that was good. And then, so out of the 21 apps, 5 were chosen. There were 3 that was the first, second, and third place winners. And then there was the 4th and 5th, sort of the honorable mentions. So what I would say to anybody who submits or, presents their app for judging in any contest is to recognize that somebody has to be picked and somebody has to be not picked, right? Just by default. It's not that your app didn't win. It's just that it wasn't picked, right? And that's true because when we went around to do the judging, everybody was asked to pick their first, second, and third place winners. And so everybody kind of said, first place, what do you want? And everybody raised their hand. Second place, same thing. Third place, the same thing. So when we got to fourth and fifth, there were just apps that just didn't get picked. It wasn't that they just didn't make the list, right? There was not enough votes to get them on the list. So some apps didn't even, it wasn't a number of
mathematically impossible that they would even get picked.
Yeah, right. It wasn't that they lost; they just didn't get picked, right? So it was kind of an interesting. Yeah, and so the other thing was.
I know what you're saying, though, Charles.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's all in how you look at it, right? Some people say, well, I didn't make it to the top 5, and you're like, well, yeah, there's 21 apps. There's only 5. Like, people are not going to make it.
Don't be surprised. There's competition in this.
Yeah.
So the whole idea.
So the other thing is that the first and second. So in first place, there were 2 apps that tied between all the judges that were there. That the 2 apps tied, and then in second place, there were 2 apps that tied.
Oh my goodness.
So we were like, okay, well, how do we fix this, right? Because the number of judges made it, an even split. So, and nobody was just going to drop out of the race. What's that?
Pick out of a hat. Which one?
Yeah. We could have done that, right? And we did try to. We did think about trying to do like rock paper scissors or something. But what we wound up doing is we said, okay, let's have an open discussion and let's discuss the merits of each app. And after each of those rounds was over for round 1 and round 2, we voted, and sure enough, people changed their votes. They just based on points that were brought up during the open discussion. So, that was interesting to see. So it wasn't as clear cut as everybody thought it was, which also brought up this idea that when you're going into one of these competitions, you need to know what you're being graded on, right? Like you could go into a competition and it could be, okay, there's a checkbox for A, B, and C, and you have to meet those criteria in order to be picked. Or you could have a judging where it's just sort of subjective, right? Where you're just like, hey, there's a bunch of judges in the room, and those judges all have opinions, and at the end of the round, everybody raises their hand for or against, and then you get what you get. So that was kind of how it went in this particular instance. There weren't any, is this app marketable? What was the graphic quality? Was the game a finished game, or was it just sort of a proof of concept? Those types of things. It really just came down to the people in the room and what their opinions were, whether or not they liked something or not. So that was.
So it was subjective grading?
It was very subjective.
With some at the time objective elements?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody in the room was.
I'm not trying to say you guys are just being like, whatever I feel is good today. No.
Right, no.
I'm trying to make I should have asked instead. What you just said is sometimes you can do it subjectively and sometimes you can do it based on a pre-known list of elements.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it was subjectively, but with objective elements. You guys thought
about we didn't all go, like item number 1, is this app marketable? Right? Mm-hmm. Yes or no? Does this app have completed graphics? Yes or no? That sort of thing.
You think that would have helped you if they'd had that in advance, though?
I think it would have made judging a whole lot easier, because then you would have said, well, no, I don't think this does. I mean, it still would have been up to the opinion of the judge, right? Because you still would have been like, well, I don't think that app has broad market appeal, right? But that's still your opinion. You got to throw it in the market and see what happens. But so it was just kind of a culmination of all of that. The judges all just sort of brought that to the table, but there wasn't any check boxes to check. So anyway, but in that, just know that if you go into one of those things, that it does depend on who is in the room, And then the other thing is that Pony Wolf, so Michael Wilson from Pony Wolf was there, and he put in Time Golf Squad, and also Candace Tomako, I think that's how you say it, and Sean is actually in the UK, but Kestrel Games was there with their Rule with an Iron Fish, and it's really a really well done game. And the interesting thing was, I thought that Pony Wolf's game, Time Golf Squad, was really tight. It was really well done. It had complete, it was like a complete game. It had great mechanics and good art, and I thought that was going to be a contender. And same thing with Rule with an Iron Fish. Beautiful graphics. It's published in the App Store. It's a legit game. But when it came down to the judging, across the room, everybody liked Rule with an Iron Fish, and Golf Squad just never got picked. Which I thought was like crazy interesting, because I was like, what? I mean, because I'm sitting there in the room, right? And they're both Corona made games, and I'm just like, I just want to see what the rest of the room says, and that's what they said. And I don't know why. I don't know why one was picked over the other, because they're both equally solid games. Just crazy. So
that's got to be disappointing for Michael, but
yeah, I think so. I really feel. I tell you,
did they list the games that were at the show? If I go to the website, can I see what games got sent out?
They probably did. I haven't been out to the website to look. They probably did.
That's a dumb question. How would you know unless you went to look?
So when we were there, Michael was like, after it was all over, he kind of caught up with me, and he was like, well, how did it go? And I was like, there was 21 apps and 5 are chosen, and I'll let you wait to see what the results were, just along with everybody else. And he was like, okay, cool. And so we're standing there, we're waiting for the announcements to happen. And of course, I knew that Time Golf Squad didn't make it, but I wasn't going to say anything. I wanted to kind of find out organically, and I was filming the whole thing. Right, I'm filming because I want to film everybody coming up on stage. And at some point, they're like, "Hey, Charles, you're supposed to be up here with the judges, right?" It's just kind of thing. And I was like, "Oh, crap!" So I turn around and I hand the camera to Michael, and I say, "Hey, will you film this for me?" And then I go up and join the judges. And then as I'm standing there with the judges, I'm like, "Oh, crap! I just told Michael he didn't win, right?" Because I gave him the camera to film the thing for him, for the people to go up to the front. I was like, "Oh,
good job, Charles."
I was like, "Good job, Charles! Yeah, yay!" Anyway, one of those moments. And then, of course, he was very gracious about it. He was like, "It's just the way it is." He's got a solid
professional game. Though.
Exactly. That's the thing. Is he's got a solid game. He knows it. Yeah. He's not there for ego boots.
This isn't his first rodeo.
No. So he's really good about it. Yeah. And he didn't give me a hard time about anything. So I appreciate that, Michael.
You're lucky. If it had been me, I'd been giving you a hard time for at least a month.
I know it. You'll never let me live down it. You're like, here, hold this for me, Charles.
That'd be fodder for a year, dude. I'd find ways to spin that one over and over. I'd be telling stories. There was a time when I was in this competition. Charles, I can't tell you.
Hey, I'm not the sharpest crayon in the box. I never claimed to be.
It's so good. This could become my story, even though it didn't happen to me. So better watch out there, buddy.
You just claim it. So we're at this thing, and Charles just says, "Hey."
I don't have to tell people who was involved except for you, Charles.
That's right. There you go. So thank you, Michael, for competing. I thought that was awesome that we had 2 Corona games 2 Corona horses in the race. And
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Man, you're a traveling fool.
Yep. So we go to Brazil, then we come back from that, and then a few days later we go to Casual Connect in San Francisco, which is supposed to be another like 3,000 person event. So I think GDC has maybe 20,000 people, and Casual Connect has 3,000 people. So it's going to be a much smaller event by far. But I don't know if you guys saw. Did I ever see that link that I shared on social media where Crossy Road? They were at Casual Connect and they told their story about how they designed the game and then sort of the graph of success, right? When they launched the game and how it kind of took off and then it kind of plateaued a little bit and then it took off again. Did you see that?
Well, I saw a video that Mike sent me.
Yeah.
And that might have been from you, or it might have been him.
That might have been Mike shared it, and then I latched onto it and shared it out. But I definitely know I've shared it.
I know it made me cry. $9 million.
Yeah.
And it's way more than that now.
Yeah. I mean, they've made a ton of money. But their story is good, and how they approached.
This still makes me cry though.
Yeah. But how they approached monetization and what they wanted the player experience to do and all that, it's really good. I mean, kind of like
there were lessons in there.
Yeah,
getting over any disappointment in your own whatever. So I'm talking about myself here. There were definitely some good lessons in there. So,
getting over your whatever.
Yeah, my disappointment. Okay, let's talk about it. I'm making illusions here. Why does the whole story make me cry?
Yeah.
This is Frogger. It's Frogger.
Oh, yeah, it's Frogger, for sure.
Dimensional-ish Frogger.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But that's, of course, not why it's so popular, because it's just the thing. You're like, look at that. That is something I feel like I could do with $9 million.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Frogger, even though this Crossy Road feels like it has more dimension to it.
It does have more. Is that a play on words? But
Frogger felt a little. Okay, here we go. Here we go again. Frogger felt a little flat.
We need Google. We need the Google sound effects for this.
Right. But even on a like you kind of crossed the road, you hopped across, you did the Frogger thing, and then you only went so far. Where Crossy Road's like an infinite runner, right? Where it's Frogger.
They got the core mechanic of Frogger, and then they layered on a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
Just talking about gameplay, and then they turned around and said, okay, now how do we insert into here a whole bunch of opportunities or ways of monetizing this in a smart way? And that's the part of the discussion that was really intriguing to me.
Well, the part that I liked about it was that they give people the opportunity to opt in at different levels, to participate in the monetization process at different levels, right? You can just play the game and unlock characters. You can watch ads to unlock characters. You can buy characters just flat out, right? And I think that's the way to go. I mean, I had somebody calls. I did a call the other day with a developer, and they were like, should I make this a premium game or should I make this a free to play? And I was like, because they were like, I don't want to publish this for free. And I was like, well, no. Okay, first of all, you should get paid, right? You should get paid for doing the work. But if you make it a premium game, now what you're doing is you're asking the person to make a decision as to whether or not they want to download your game. If you make it a free-to-play, that decision goes away, and now it's just a question of whether or not where they want to participate, how they want to participate, right? And some of the, one of those answers may be not at all, right? They may not participate at all, but if you give them enough options, then they can participate in a variety of different ways. So why do one thing, right, when you can really do all these things, and you can remove all the friction for them installing your app? So,
yeah, I liked. They made a point in the story too. Was in their talk, was how they introduced a special character. It was like $2 or something, and then they found that it's like, we're not charging enough for this. That it needed to be more.
Oh.
And as soon as they increased the price, then it was like more people got it. It's like it didn't even make sense. But it doesn't make sense from like my point of view, but I guess it's just like how people's brains work.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a psychology of value, right? Yeah, if
$4.99, that's special.
Yeah, if I sell something to you, if I give you a really good deal on something, then you're like, oh, well, there must be something wrong with it. But
yeah.
if
I
I
guess
charge
you're giving something away for too cheap.
yeah, but if I charge you extra for it, then you're like, oh, it must be really good.
Premium price must mean premium features.
Right.
But one of the things they said, I don't know if they really meant to let on, is that although you get the impression that maybe these different characters you can buy will have different attributes, they are all the same. They kind of like let that. They said something, and I saw them kind of like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. You know, they're not. The interesting thing is they're not actually all the same. They don't hop any faster. They don't hop any further. You know, those types of things, sure, but they do make different sounds.
Oh yeah, they have different attributes.
They have different
that are not based in the mechanics.
Right.
The core mechanics.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't get you any extra abilities, but it does get you an extra.
They talked about in the thing how like there was a big discussion about, no, this one's got a smaller hitbox. I'm sure of it.
Right.
All the hitboxes are the same.
Yeah. Which is genius, right? They made it into a
people can discuss it.
Yeah, a totally swappable, interaction or whatever. Totally.
The thing I got out of that, I keep interrupting you, but the thing I got out of that is they talked about this and they made the point, and they also said, I don't know if they said it explicitly or that it was implied, but is that they did not interject. They didn't come in and go, "Hey guys, they're all the same." They let the discussion run, of course you want to do that, but some people would be tempted to go and go, "No, they're all the same."
Oh, right.
It just killed the discussion.
Right. Yeah, I want to set the record straight. Yeah, and that's because now you've got people talking about you.
Oh, the Pac-Man one's not the same actually. If you played it,
here we go.
I'm not. It's just I think there's only like one thing to it though. I think that's like the only one that's different. But I have like a separate leaderboard and stuff. That's like the only thing.
Okay, I'm not gonna argue. I don't want to get in anybody's backside on this.
Well, the thing is, it's like you collect dots instead of like how it usually is, like where you like just progress forward.
Oh, it's a different variation on the game.
Yeah.
That was an IP play though, right?
Yeah, I think it's a monetization play. They I think it's like Pac-Man, like 256. I think.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Right.
And, yeah.
But they made that for somebody, so
sorry. It's actually part of the app. Like it's they have like a little mini. It's like into the app, Crossy Road.
You think they did that for cross promotion since they have 256s?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't played the mini game inside Crossy Road.
And that's the other thing is we're talking about features.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when I saw the video, I'm like, that's not at all what the game looked like when I last played it. They're frequently and regularly updating their game, so it's hard to get a scope on what's in it or what it looks like because it changes.
Right.
They have a new Mickey. They have a new Disney one. If you saw that on the App Store, yeah, it's made. It looks like it's made by Disney, but it looks like it's like a reskin version of Crossy Road that Disney published.
Interesting. Yeah, I've seen some Crossy clones.
Some, just like anything else, it's got like 100 of them.
Right.
Plus.
But I mean some ones that are actually featured by the Apple App Store, right? I mean ones that are like they're actually getting noticed, not just. I think
they're playing the ASO game, or you said featured, so that's no longer the ASO game. But
maybe I don't know. Have you guys? Oh, speaking of which, have you installed iOS 10 yet? The beta?
I have.
No.
What do you think about it, Scott?
What?
What do you think about it?
It crashes a lot. It does.
Yeah, it's a little, well, it's beta, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Apple always seems to have the true beta, like things crash and things are kind of weird and funky. And then by the time they get to release, it's all nice and shiny.
I've got one Apple device that's still relevant as far as like age. So I wait as long as possible to upgrade to the next iOS.
Right. Yeah. I said I would never install a beta on my daily driver again, but I've got it here it is. I got it installed on my normal device, which was a real pain when I went to Canada because Facebook kept crashing. so I was like, oh, I'll get stupid Charles setting up his new iOS 10 before it goes off on, gets on the airplane.
Oh, that was brilliant, Charles.
That was brilliant.
Introduce a new element into your ecosystem before you leave.
Right before you leave. That's right. Thankfully, I did put iOS 10, Mac OS. I did put Mac OS on a different computer. Yeah, on a non-production computer.
You can petition your hard drive. That's what I did. I have 2 operating systems on my Mac.
Yeah, that's too old school for me. It's kind of a pain. So I didn't do that. I just have 2 machines. I have an old machine and a new machine.
Hey, Charles, you're putting yourself in a whole new bracket. Yeah, I don't need 2.
Partition it. I just get an old one. I'll just buy it. They're cheap. I'll buy another one.
Who needs partitions? I'm not going to have 2 machines.
The reason I brought up the iOS 10 thing is because it's if you use the App Store in iOS 10, it shows you the apps, right? The advertisements, right? What do they call those things? The
ads.
It's ads. It's ads, but there's a fancier name that they're using for it. But it shows the ad at the top. So if you're searching for something, it'll show what it thinks is the relevant app. If you don't, the crazy thing is if you don't have the app installed, it will show you, like if you're looking for a specific app, it'll bring that app up in the search results because you're looking for that app. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have that app installed, then it shows up in the ad up above and it shows up in the listing that you just found, right?
Yeah, this is that ranking thing, right?
Right.
The paid
placement. Yeah, and once you have it installed, if you were to go back and search for that again, then it's not supposed to show up because you have it installed. So it's supposed to be smart like that. So
I'm pretty sure they'll probably fix that just for limited real estate.
Yeah, I don't know. In the beta, it's like they're all being advertised. Like I've seen plenty of Corona apps that I've searched for that are being advertised as, hey, you searched for this app, and here's the most relevant app to you, and that is displayed as an ad at the top of the store. So I don't know if they're going to do that. Like it's right now, it's just turned on for everybody.
Yeah. Do you remember when the beta program ends on that?
Don't. Scott, do you know?
I need to check. I got the invite, but I didn't check to the end of the period.
Yeah.
Like it should be like really for like until like the full release comes out. What do you mean the beta period?
Now, when I say the beta, I mean the beta program for the paid advertisements.
Oh, I haven't looked into that at all.
Yeah, I'm with Scott. I would imagine that it would end whenever they push out iOS 10 because it's tied. The App Store is included in iOS 10. So, but I could be wrong. They could extend it, I guess, to try to get some buzz going and get people excited about it. Like show you how it works and then take it away from you, right? Oh, you liked how that worked?
Give it to you cheap and then make it expensive. That's the trick.
Yeah.
Get you addicted to crack and then
Right.
Put
I think it's going to be an interesting way to advertise for sure. I
think it'll go like most things, affordable for a while for the indies and whatever, and then totally dominated by the people with deep pockets. But I could be just, I don't know.
Well, yeah, and they say that they're supposed to be, algorithmically driven, right? So it's going to be the most relevant.
Ching, ching, ching. Okay, that's a pretty easy algorithm.
When you read the slide deck there, though, it sounds a lot like AdWords. So you're right. I mean, it'll start out, you'll be able to do 10 cents a tap or something or whatever, a nickel a tap, but then eventually it'll become, $50 a tap or something.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, well, I'm so negative.
But I think that's the market, though. I don't think that's Apple.
I don't blame Apple. That's just the way of things,
Right.
Every new thing goes like that. Can't stay free and low price all forever.
Yeah.
There is that thing called competition in there.
The one thing I did like though is they specifically said though that you can't spend your way to the top, right? You can't buy a keyword and say, I want my app to show across all these keywords regardless, right? I'm not just going to throw a bunch of money at it. It has to be a relevant app. So it sounds like it's got some stuff built in there that might actually sort of level the playing field a little bit.
Well, I've heard good things about Apple lately as far as like improvements. So I'm hoping that, because when you say relevant, my first thought is, well, how do you determine what relevant is? That's pretty subjective, especially when people are trying to game the system. It's like the keyword thing, right? Where keywords used to be like, well, use the keyword that really means something. Now we just throw every keyword at it that we can, hoping that it'll rank us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but, I think Apple, that said, having sounded very negative about it, I would say for sure that Apple is really working on not so much leveling the playing field, but just making sure that it stays fair.
I think it's to their advantage, right? Mm-hmm. It's to their advantage. I mean, if developers feel like it's a plausible solution for them, then they'll use it. And if they don't, then they won't. And that's not the way that they're going to be successful long term is, so.
Right, exactly. They will themselves become not necessarily irrelevant, but pseudo irrelevant if they don't work to keep the marketplace equitable and fair.
Yeah. One of the things they did say in their slide deck was that I think over maybe like 3/4 of people use the App Store to find apps, which I'm wondering, I'm like, is that including web searches? Are they including like Google? Because I do a lot of Googling. I mean, I search for things on the device when I know exactly what it is, right? You're like, hey, go download ABC Waterworks, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, ABC Waterworks. And then if it doesn't come up, then I throw your name into it, and I try to try to refine the search. But if I don't know what I'm looking for,
Google.
Water balloon apps, whatever, right?
No, I don't even use the store then. It's you never find what you're looking for.
Yeah, I go to Google. And I say water balloon apps.
I have enough trouble finding the exact name.
Yeah.
When I know the exact name of the app and I put it in, sometimes I'm like, that app doesn't even come up.
Yeah. Which is why I told the developer of Recent News, I was like, dude, it's really hard to find your app because if I go Google Recent News iOS.
One thing is the Apple Store that does it really super frustrates me about that is they bifurcate. They split between your device types. So if you're on an iPad, they prefer to show you iPad stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, everything's universal. Just get rid of that stupid thing and show me everything.
Right.
Especially because sometimes publishers will mark their game as iOS. It's an iOS, not iOS, but iPhone. It's an iPhone game. No, it's universal. It's on both. So why doesn't it show up in my iPad search? I got to go over and click on the little button that says iPhone? Give me a break.
Yeah. That might have been a holdover from the days with...
That could be. Hopefully they fix that in iOS 10. Still.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I get bitten by that all the time when I'm looking for apps.
But are all apps truly universal?
Probably not. No, not all apps are. I will say no. Definitely. Older apps are not all universal.
Yeah.
Current generation, I would say yes, though. Almost invariably that they would be. I mean, you could specifically, if you're not, forget about Corona for a minute.
Yeah.
If you're doing native only, you can definitely split it down the middle and say, no, I just don't want to do iPad. It's only for app. Messing up here. Only for iPhones.
Yeah.
You could do that. You can also do that, I believe, for Corona apps, but it's something where you have to work at it. So most people just get a universal build.
Yeah, because I think if your app is, if the form factor is for a phone,
mm-hmm.
Maybe the best experience wouldn't be on an iPad, even though you could use it.
This question has come up in the forums: is how do I restrict my app to tablets only?
Right.
For example, is a question. And it's doable. I'm quite sure it's definitely doable on Android for Corona. And I'm pretty sure you can do it also on iOS. It's just a little more tricky.
Yeah. Well, I agree, though. I there are times when I'm looking for something for my phone while I'm on my iPad, and I'm just like, just give it to me. Just give it to me, man. Just give me all my options.
I use the current store, iOS 9. The way I use it is I'll go to the featured page and look at like the featured games and the games categories and stuff like that. But I don't use it for like just generally finding stuff. It's either if I know exactly what I'm looking for or if I just feel like browsing. And then after that, it's like you said, I just use Google on a regular old browser and look for what I'm looking for, like the category or whatever. One thing this made me think of is I've talked about BuildBox before. But if the BuildBox guys are listening, like I should really be trying to help them out. But they have this page. I swear to God, I don't know. I've noticed it in a lot of different places, but them especially. They've got this page for like all our best apps, like the apps that have been really popular. But they list the app, they got the name for it, and you click the button, which uses a little searchy thing, and that app is gone. And the reason the app is gone is because somebody has changed the title of their app. Mm-hmm. They changed the name of my app game to get a better ranking, or maybe they had a conflict with somebody and a cease and desist, but it's like half the games on their list you got to go look them up yourself because the link isn't going to work. So, and the point I'm trying to make is I've noticed a lot lately when I go to look for games, and I've just read an article about it or something like that, and I look that title up, can't find it. And then when I finally find the game, usually like by searching for the publisher or whatever, the person who made the game or the person who published it, finally find it, title's different, or they changed some of the words.
Yeah. Remember Mo? Remember Mo? He used to.
Yeah, I remember Mo.
Yeah, he's still out there somewhere. He's probably watching, but he used to join us on the Hangouts, and I can't remember the name of his game, but he had a game that he kept experimenting with the titles.
Right. I remember that discussion.
So every time I would either go to refer to somebody to the game or try to look it up myself, I could never find it because I was like, it's always under a different title.
Yeah, like you got to look up the publisher. I don't know what the name of this game is today.
Right. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I just think it was funny. It was always funny. I'm like, is that a new game? He's like, no, it's the same one. Okay.
An interesting way to get new traction.
Right.
But you throw away all your old traction, so it kind of doesn't work.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, well, I think if you hit a spot where you're like, hey, this is like millions of downloads, you're like, good, stop changing.
Yeah, whatever works, right. Right. But if he does find a point that works, he's probably not going to go, let's change that again. No.
Right. No, done. That's good enough.
Hit the sweet spot. Let me move it.
Yeah. Well, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about tonight? Because if not, I'm going to cut it short.
I have a Drive plugin, like Google Drive plugin.
You do?
Yeah.
Is it submitted?
I submitted it. I think about a few hours ago. I think it was. I was talking to Mitchell. I think.
Michael.
Michael, is it Mike? Hold on, let me check my Gmail.
Well, we call him Michael.
Better call him Michael.
We call him Michael, and he responds to it. So.
I like that. That's good. He'll never answer me again, though.
Just don't call him Michelle.
No, now he'll be like, Ed, it's not funny. Don't do that.
Yeah, it says Mitchell. It says Mitchell. Walter. Okay. Waller.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Okay, sorry. Michael should be listening. He'll be going, that ain't. Yeah. He's so funny.
So anyway, you submitted a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
And so
tell us what it does.
Yeah, tell us what it does.
What it does is allows you to allows you to send and get files from Google Drive. Since there is like a lot of like on all Google's APIs, there's like a lot of different like endpoints and stuff. I just made it like drive.request, and then like you type in your URL, and it's kind of like network request, but it's
just like posts and getting posts and all that, sort of like exactly like network request.
Yeah, but it will handle your access token and stuff like that for you.
Does this require encryption or anything like that? I'm thinking OAuth.
I used the OAuth 2 authentication 2 for it.
Okay.
I got it working pretty well. I was able to send, get, delete, and I think modify files with my drive.
That's cool. That's really cool. Because I could see that being used, like one of the game types that I've entertained is it would be nice to create a game where people could share stuff, but how do you give them a way to share stuff with their buddies, with their friends? Well, if Google Drive were an option, then they could, you can give them a way to access or create maybe a Google Drive account and then share with their friends by sending them the right link or the credentials.
Can you generate a link based off of what you've uploaded, or can you upload things?
You should be able to use it'll return a file ID, which you should be able to just share off. Like if you want, I think there's a certain link that they have, and you just add the file ID at the end of it. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now on my drive. There's open ? And then your ID equals, and then you just punch in your file ID, and it should be able to share it off to anyone.
Okay, well, that's definitely. I'm waiting for this to come out now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The thing is you come on a show like this, and then you say, "Hey, I did this thing," and then the problem is people like me and Charles will go, "Well, the thing I want to use it for is this," and you're like, "Well, no, it doesn't do that." Let me tell you what it does do, and then you can stop asking for stuff I didn't do. That sounds like it's. I'm looking forward to it. What I'm trying to say is whatever I asked for, if it doesn't do it, that's cool too. It still sounds good. So don't let me put pressure on you, or whatever.
Where do you see it going? What do you want to expand it out, or is it?
I probably will expand it out. Right now, it just uses .request. I'd probably add an upload feature to make it easier, so you don't have to type in drive.request and then the whole URL and then the get and all that.
Yeah.
In order just to upload something, just give me where your file is, and I'll send it off.
Yeah. You're the author of GBC Data Cabinet too, right?
Oh no, no, I did.
You?
No, that's someone else. I did the physics body editor, and I think it's Dreamlow or something. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's the leaderboard thing that came out.
Right.
And I also did it's a paid plugin on my site. It's a Google Play Game Services plugin using the REST API.
Okay.
The structure of actually that is kind of behind Drive. I had to modify a lot of things in order to get it to work.
So
you said, I already asked you this, so I'm not asking again, but you did say you used OAuth 2. My question in here is, did you find an OAuth 2? Is this pure Lua OAuth 2?
Yeah, this is pure Lua. It will require web view. So window, I think I worked around it kind of the way it was Jason did his Twitter plugin, the way Windows works.
Right.
Similar. It's a little more sloppier, but it's not as good as the way he did it, but it will work and it should work, but I would not recommend publishing it out that way, publishing on Windows until a web view is added.
Right. Until a native web view is added, right, instead of a web browser. Or, launching a web browser. I wanted to ask, I know, coming back to OAuth 2, was this your OAuth 2? Well, there's a reason I'm asking. So, was this your OAuth 2, or did you find this somewhere?
No, this is my OAuth 2. There was actually, I did look at someone else's, but I kind of see how they did it, and kind of as Google kind of does it a little bit differently. There's a lot. Let me suggest. I know you're like, "Ooh, I just got this done," but another hot one is people really want to get their hands on a working OAuth 2 plugin. Ooh, okay.
So if you have an OAuth 2 library already, you might consider either posting it as GitHub or something, or producing or releasing it as a rudimentary plugin. Because I've seen many requests over the last year or so for an OAuth 2 solution that actually works.
You should be able to actually. I don't know how the plugins exactly work. There is
Well, you
OAuth
can
2.
snag it if you want. The people who know what they're doing, they can grab your Lua plugins.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
sorry.
true. Well, the thing is, there's actually it's like if you like kind of knew how my file system kind of works in the plugin, you should be able to actually access it from the plugin, because plugin, I think there's like 3 Lua files in it. Like one handles like multi-part requests. There's like it's like an old plugin. I had to update that to use JSON, but yeah, you should be able to like you know how you do like plugin dot drive dot. You should be able to access the OAuth.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you should be able
I only
to.
brought up the thing about OAuth 2 because Google Drive is that's cool, but you could like win quick bonus points with people.
Oh yeah, because you could use it for a variety of different services.
Yeah, because OAuth 2 is used for exactly a ton of stuff.
No, maybe I'll look into
Finding
that.
OAuth 2 Lua.
Yeah, especially if you're. I don't know what your strategy is, or what if you're kind of trying to get into the marketplace early and have an established user base or whatnot. But that would be a good one. Sort of get in early with a solid OAuth plugin. Have a bunch of people using it, and that way when you come out with something else, you'd be set.
Yeah, and I think some people out there are probably waiting for an OAuth 2 library or something solution to do their own work, because they're like, I could do this, except I can't get the OAuth 2 part to work. But forget about OAuth 2. I'm looking forward to your current plugin coming out, so I'll be watching.
Let's talk about Dreamlow for a moment. So I see here it says add a leaderboard to your game right now and add a promo code system to your game right now. That the promo code system sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
On my website, like on the documentation, I do have a hold on, let me see if I can grab the forum link real fast. I did do a forum thing on how to do promo codes. I'll put it in the chat here. Hold on, let me grab it. It's in, where is it?
You should definitely put it in the chat. Although I think I keep this file on my desktop of like interesting links. I don't know if you guys are like me, but you're like, oh, that's pretty interesting. I'll look at that. And then you don't have time to read the things. You're like, I'll go back later. I just keep a list of all the links of interesting
Well, you
stuff.
could use like Gitpocket or something like that to keep a list of read
I
later.
linked this forum thing. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I linked this.
Okay, I think I put it in the chat.
Yep, got it.
Yeah, I did that a long time ago. I don't have it native. I don't have it in the plugin currently, but it is there if you need it. I have it linked in my documentation to like that forum link if you want to add promo codes.
Right. Sorry, you hear me typing over here.
Cool. So give us a rundown without reading through the forum thread here. What's you're just able to add promo codes to do what? To unlock features in your game?
It's been a while actually. I gotta check.
Oh, okay.
Let me pull it up again.
It's like me.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I wrote that thing, but I kind of don't remember what it does anymore because I moved on. It's called moving on.
That's right. Slept since then.
Where is it? Good.
I guess I could just click on how it works.
Do that, Charles.
Yeah, if you put in a code, it should. What was it? Yeah, if you like put in a code, it will like return a response. I think I also did below like I plugged to Jason's blog. Like if you were to if you had the willpower and like you were really wanting to, you could probably like use like the URL schemes and this to do a really good promo code system with the URL schemes. So like a user would just like click on it, boom, they get the promo code and it's like marked out. That's the biggest thing is like you don't want like if you use Jason's way, everybody would get that URL and it would like you could actually like send it out to everyone. But the promo code system that I posted, it's a one-time use and then you can't use it anymore.
Okay, so it's controlled by some sort of backend.
Yeah, that's someone else who is it like on the Dreamlow website you can like add it, do your own thing.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's a great way, because now one of the things with promo codes for apps is that you only have so many, and two, you can't really leverage those for anything more than just initial promotion of the app, right? So being able to put a promo code in the app that says, hey, this unlocks pieces of the app, or this does, this gives you special characters or whatever, would be cool. Because then you can run your own promotion. Yeah, and reward your users for paying attention. Cool. I like this. I want to experiment with this.
Charles says, as I'm distracted, reward your users for paying attention. I'm over here clicking on it.
He's like, I got to find my file with all these links in it.
I only got a small. Oops. Hey,
I'm just doing this real fast.
There it is.
Yeah.
Curtis.
Allow access.
Allow.
Oh wait, there might be. Oh, there's a. That's the problem. Well, it's mainly just my demo. It's just my demo. It's performance.
Right.
Yeah. And then
that's what happens when you want to demo something.
Yeah. Let me see. My drive should be empty. Let me see. Looks like I just have an arrow image. Wait, can you see my? I'm not really.
No, we lost it. Once the app dies, you got to re-show share the screen.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can do this.
It's a instance only sharing.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm trying to show you my Safari view, but.
No, you got to share your entire desktop then.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, it's once you hit request, I'm sharing. What is it? I'm sharing.
You can hit request, and then share the browser.
Yeah, here it is. I should have just added like a bunch of files. Oh, here they are. I just added like 3 arrows to my drive.
Yeah, we just see the app.
Oh, you don't see. Oh, hold on.
That's what I'm saying. When you share a specific, that's all you get.
Well, let me see if I can. Oh no, hold on.
You should have the option to show your entire desktop.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, now I got it.
There you are.
Yeah, I'll redo. I just deleted them. Let me do that. And then if you hit request, it should send the file to. Where is it?
You got enough stuff on your drive. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, there it is. This is what I just uploaded. Let me delete it and I'll request it again. Hit refresh, and you should be able to get back from it in theory. Wait, hold on. I think I have code somewhere. Well, actually, never mind. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it. You can sign out, and boom, there we go.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying this out.
Yeah, I think it's like a popular feature request too. Like, what was it?
It is.
Yeah,
it is. Dropbox and then Google Drive.
Did you find it difficult to work with Google's API?
Well, I already did. Well, originally I found it. I did something with Google Play Game Services. I kind of used the meat of that and kind of recooked it and kind of got this. It did take some time. I think it took like 2 to 3 days. The biggest problem is actually multi-part, like sending a file and sending data with it. Like the current network.upload doesn't allow you to put data with it. It just allows you to upload a file. That's it. So I think that someone made a plugin like a long time ago that did that. But the problem is that Google's really strict about how they want it. So I had to kind of change that up a little bit. That took me the most time, I think.
Gotcha.
I don't know about you, but just finding the stuff on the Google Docs about that specific feature is what takes me the most time. So, I mean, they got a lot of services, which is really cool. I have there's so many ways to use them, and their primary focus for the longest time was using them from a browser or some other web app. And then, you can use it for mobile too, but how do I find the stuff on mobile? How do I find the steps for mobile?
Yeah, the good thing is this is a service that they will probably continue for a very long time, right?
Yeah, this is a standard service of theirs.
Yeah, they have to compete with iCloud and Dropbox and I don't know. Is there another? Is there a third?
Considering I think that your mail is actually integrated with Google Drive,
Right.
it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Also the docs and their slides and all that.
Yeah, all that stuff all goes to Google Drive. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also, what was it? I was kind of going through some documentation. What was it called? Like Google Play Game Services, like cloud, like that service uses, what was it? It uses Google Drive a little bit too.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah. Other save states. If you want to use a REST API, you'd have to go through Google Drive. That's kind of complicated a little bit.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, definitely. That's very cool. Looking forward to that for sure. You got any others in the pipeline besides OAuth?
I think I'm going to try to do a Yelp. Well, I actually already finished the Yelp plugin, but I'm going to try to, I think someone was wanting me to, who was it? I think Rob wanted me to put it on the store. I did on GitHub. He wanted me to like publish it as on the marketplace. I'm probably going to do that soon. And I think I might do PayPal too. That's a big one.
That'd be huge. People would, they'd love you and then they'd hate you because they'd be like, how do I do this? You'd be like, who's the guy who did In-App Badger? What an appropriate name, Badger, because he's getting badgered all the time in the forums. I'm like, how do I do this? How do I do this? This didn't work. I got 2 pop-ups. The thingamajob. So people will love you, but just be prepared for a deluge of forum posts. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
PayPal would be super popular.
I also got to do the auto land thing.
What about it?
Did you do that one?
Well, I updated it. I'll probably have to ask the guy who originally made it if we can make it a plugin.
Gotcha.
The auto land thing.
Yeah, I saw the from the forum mention of the auto land stuff. So seems like that's making a resurgence.
Yeah. Especially with Apple TV going on, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Should be able to do something similar.
Do you have an Apple TV?
I have just
new
about everything but an Apple TV. I have a Fire Stick, a Chromecast. I think I got a PlayStation TV for like $20 yesterday.
You know, it hit me the other day how Tim Cook stood up there and said, "We think the future of television is apps." And at the time, I was like, I thought he was just saying that because that's, they were just wanting to introduce apps on the App Store. And then I realized, you know what? TV, as we probably know it growing up, is just about dead. I mean, at least in my house it is. People watch their iPads. They watch Netflix on their computer. They watch, half the time my kids watch, they're watching YouTube or Netflix on a device, and the big screen TV is sitting there off. So we don't use it the way we used to.
If you guys don't need it, you can put it in a box and send it to me.
Yeah, well, I just think that, if anything, the future of television is apps, because the future of television isn't television.
I still like a big screen, but
I do too. I mean, I do too, but I'm a different generation, right? And but I get it. I mean, I do watch things on devices, but not to the extent that my kids do. My kids could care less about the big screen TV. They just want to watch the thing. Like my son will watch all day long. He'll watch YouTube videos on his computer, but he plays Xbox on his big screen TV. So,
of course.
Yeah, wouldn't you?
Yeah, yes.
How else are you?
My old Xbox.
Yeah, exactly. How else are you? Hello.
Hey, before I forget, I know whoever's listening, if anybody out there's got an app that they how do I say this? Backing up. For those people who care, that's what I mean, is if you've got an app that uses Sprite Lock or whatever, I always call it Loc Sprite, but it's Sprite Lock. You remember that old plugin from like way back in 2011 or whatever? for converting Flash to sprites.
Right.
Well, that got traded over to another company, and then it never got really a lot of love. And then Graphics 2.0 came along, and it was like pretty much broken at that point.
Right.
But a lot of people made games with it, and then they got stuck when they wanted to do an update. I did a micro project, not a micro project. I did a work for a client, just a small bit of work that brought me up to speed on converting to Graphics 2.0 and getting old sprite lock assets to work without re-exporting them or anything. So if anybody out there's got apps that they're not updating because of sprite lock, I'm here. Contact me.
Nice.
Sorry, got to do that little advertising.
Have you posted that in the forums?
No, I will. I will
Yeah,
post it. I mean, I just got done with a contract today.
Yeah, you should, because that seems like a legit, that's a legit discussion.
Yep. So I figured, if I did all the footwork to figure that stuff out, I might as well see if anybody else can do it too.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So, because it was actually, once I figured it out, I was like, this stuff still works. That's pretty cool.
Was it a considerable amount of work, or was it just?
Yeah, it was. The thing with sprite lock is it produces these really deep structures of the way they organize the sprite sheets and all of the data associated, which is totally foreign to the way we do it today. So if you don't have a good grounding in sprite lock, how it works, and how the old sprite system used to work, the old sprites 1.0, and how the new sprites work, you got no hope whatsoever of figuring out how to make that stuff work. But at the end of the day, it's actually pretty straightforward. I mean, knowing the magical parts.
Yeah. What's crazy is I still do get emails from people asking, hey, my app uses Director. Should I upgrade to Composer? And I'm like, well, that's the path forward, right? That's the official.
I tell them yes.
Whatever. Yeah. So.
Actually, I not provocate. That's not the right word. Provocate means to lie, I think. But anyways, I say is that if it's working, then no, of course, don't change it.
Right, and that's what I said too. Because they had like a I can't remember how many apps, but they had more than one, and they were like, "Hey, should we update all these apps?" And I'm like, "Well, only if you need to."
Yeah.
But
do you wish to spend money to get the same results? Do not do that.
Right.
I'm not saying that the two are the same. What I'm saying is it's the way you're using it. If you're not going to get any extra bang out of it, then don't do it.
Right. But
if you're fixing a bug, by all means.
Yeah. Or if you want to, like, if you feel like you want to add additional features to your app, but you want to be kind of like move everything else forward at the same time, then sure, that makes sense, right? But if you're just doing it because, then no. Like as you say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
But
most of the time, with Director, they'll be fixing something.
Right. It's not supported anymore. I don't even think it's supported by the developer of the thing, right?
I think it uses a few features, anchors and stuff like that are not even valid anymore.
Right.
Anchoring, not anchors like today's anchors, but the old anchors.
Right. The graphics 1.0 stuff. The
graphics 1.0 equivalent of anchors.
Yeah.
Reference points.
You're right. So, that's kind of one of those questions. Like if you're going to make money on it, if you're going to you want to update it, bring it forward, sure. If you're going to start a new project, most definitely. But yeah, well, my point though was that you wind up. It's interesting how many people far back they go with their builds. Right, where they are, what build they're using to maintain an app. That's interesting.
Right. But the thing is if you got to go too far back nowadays, you got to struggle because you need to have like an old install of the operating OS 10, for example. You got to have a old install of what's the Xcode.
Right.
And there's a lot of things you need to have in place to go back to the really old builds. So like, forget about 2013.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So you're better to update.
I need to ask the Taps guys how they handle that because they have 200 apps.
Yeah, my guess is that they have a core library that they update. And then the changes roll out to the other apps. That in itself is difficult. If you ask like Terry Schuessler, he can commiserate with me on the point that regardless of whether or not you've got a core library, it's not as simple as updating the core library and going, look, it works. No, now you're going to distribute the core library back over to the app and hope something else didn't change in the interim. If you're like me, your core library is not the same core library it was yesterday.
Well, I think TAPS does have some. I mean, I've talked to them. They do have some sort of workflow, some sort of build process in place, which has allowed them to be able to do that. So that if something needs to be updated, they can update it across their catalog of applications. But yeah, they also have. It's also a 60-person team.
There you go. That's the solution right there. People.
Right. Yeah.
I can do it.
Scott, what's that?
Oh, I just said that could do it.
That could do it. Yeah, exactly.
Any problem can be solved by throwing people at it.
Well, right. Yeah.
Look at NASA.
More manpower.
Speaking of NASA, good job, guys.
What?
The Jupiter thing?
Yeah.
What they do? I didn't. I'm not plugged in.
We have a satellite. I call it a satellite. We have a satellite orbiting Jupiter.
Okay.
That's the rundown.
What's it going to do?
It's going to take pictures for 5 years.
That's
cool.
Then
it's going to burn up.
And then it's going to burn up. It's going to just.
Yeah. But they're going to they're doing that on purpose too, because they want to use that last gasp usage of the satellite to see if they can figure out more stuff that they can't figure out from so high up. But once they do it, it's a done deal.
So at some point they're like, hey, there's grass down here.
Look, there's little green guys. Holy crap, we were wrong all along.
It just goes through the atmosphere, doesn't burn up, just lands, and then they're like, oh, look.
They got there about July 4th, and July 5th is when it went into orbit, and it was that period in between where they're like, well, if it doesn't do the right thing, it's going to blow up, or it's like going to shoot off into space, or it's going to dive too deep and burn up, and 5 years will have been wasted getting it there, or whatever it was.
Do you ever see Tom Papa on Netflix?
Yes.
He starts getting on the NASA, and he's like, how dare you make space exploration boring? He's like, they need a better marketing department. He's like, how is it that they're like, they can put a rover, they can put a spacecraft on Mars, and they call it rover, right? They're like, rover. Today we landed rover. Yeah, right. But I mean, he's like, put some mud flaps on it, redneck it up a bit.
There you go. You spent $50 million designing the project. You spent $500,000 more to come up with a good thing. I mean,
he's like, put a laser on the front, shoot some aliens.
There is a laser on the front.
He's like, how are we gonna know, right?
You do. NASA does need to sex up their products if they want to stay relevant and interesting.
I agree. I'm like, because you're telling me here we are. We're orbiting. What was it? Jupiter, right? The the largest planet in our solar system, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they did it. They get there. July 4th? You said July 4th.
July 5th is when they got it into orbit.
Okay, but still, July 4th, they could have been like, "Hey, woo, July 4th."
In the newspaper and a little thing about this big.
Yeah, well, maybe that's part of the meeting. Maybe that's part of the problem.
I think they're like, we don't want to make a big deal out of this because we just spent like $1 billion to make this thing, and it took like 5 years to get there, and there's the possibility that we could now crash it.
It goes to your taxpayer money.
It'd be the most expensive fireworks ever.
Yep, that's the truth. I'm sure they have a lot of pressure on them to perform.
Yeah.
And get questioned.
Right? It boggles my mind, honestly. The mathematics that involved are crazy complicated. Yeah. So,
right,
one little micro error, and you're doomed.
Right. Yeah, there's some pretty sharp people there for sure. Which was what was weird about the space shuttle program. When they dismantled that, you're thinking, a lot of them went to private industry, but that's, how do you know for sure that all that tribal knowledge was transitioned into something else, right? You're just like, people just got pink slips. I mean, all that knowledge, all that experience, and it's just kind of like, okay, we learned all that stuff, so you're fired.
Sounds like. Just a second here. I wanted to look something. There was one factoid about Juno that was really impressive, but I want to get the facts right.
Did that used to be an email service, Juno? Or was that access to the internet? I can't remember what it was. Juno.
I'm not listening.
I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up too.
610 miles per hour.
Access, internet service.
Let's see.
Yeah, it used to be Juno Internet Service, Juno.com.
It's also a film.
Miles per hour.
That's really Google.
Okay, I'm getting there. 37,996. See, I can't even do basic math.
What are you doing? You're trying to calculate the distance from your front door to Juno?
No.
What are you doing? Are you using a calculator?
Yeah.
Is that wow, look at that.
That's an engineering calculator.
Wow.
I'm an ex-engineering student, so this is my favorite calculator ever.
He's hugging it.
This is the best calculator in existence. That's all I gotta say. HP 48S. I couldn't afford the 48G, but that's all right. Okay, so I guess the number's not as impressive as I thought it was. Juno, I don't know if this is the current speed or the speed it was going when just as it started to slow down, but its speed, the listed speed is 23,610 miles per hour.
Wow.
So, which is, that's like four 10,000, so it's really not that impressive. 4/10,000s the speed of light.
Oh.
So, for some reason, I thought it was higher than that.
But what's the gas mileage like? That's what I want to know.
It's solar powered.
Nuclear solar powered. Solar powered.
The only part of it that I believe that was fuel based was the engine they used at the end to slow down.
Oh yeah, well that makes sense. Sense.
You don't lose momentum while you're in space.
Right, but I mean, still solar powered to be able to kick it up to that rate, because we're talking like an ion engine or something like that, something with a really super slow acceleration, really low acceleration.
You think they're just storing power? They're storing battery packs or something? They're storing power? Like
no, it's got some massive solar arrays.
Oh, okay.
It's got solar arrays that are like twice as large as anything we've ever used.
Right. And
it's so far from the sun.
And it's not, there's no atmosphere to cloud it, right? It's just getting the sun, right?
Right, but it's like, the problem is it's so far away that the sun is minimal as far as like power. But the point I was trying to get at there is that it's a solar powered device. So it had its launch rate. So it hit escape velocity, used a rocket pack, got boosted out, and then all that stuff fell away. And it's a satellite. Unfolds its little doohickeys. And then if I remember right, it did two gravity assists, slingshot maneuvers, one around Earth and one around something else to get up to speed. And then everything else after that was whatever its little measly engine is based on electricity. So it's just a pretty big number, It's to put it in perspective, it's the fastest thing we've ever made. It's going faster than anything else humans have ever put into space or anywhere else.
So what you're telling me is that it didn't age, right? Time slowed down for it just a little bit?
I'm sure the time slowed down for it a little bit, marginally, but negligibly here, relative to us.
Yeah. So by the time
now we're going into yes. Okay, good. I'm now definitely ready to go hang up and go do something else. Go Juno.
That's cool. That is very cool. I used to watch all the space shuttle launches when I was a kid. I loved them. I thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Makes me sad that some people think, oh, NASA, we don't need that. Plan
Right.
to your phone, dude.
Right. Velcro. Hello.
Right. You like tying your shoes? I mean, what's wrong with you? You want to heat everything on the stove? Microwaves.
That's right.
Jerk off.
Peanut butter in a bag. Come on. Does it get any better than that?
Butter in a bag. Where would your children be without peanut butter in a bag? I'm telling you. Okay, guys. Last words of wisdom? Not from me, from you.
From me? No last words of wisdom. I don't have anything. Scott, you got some last words of wisdom?
Have fun in Brazil.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't catch Zika.
I will. So I'll try not to catch Zika. I'll try not to swim in the super bacteria ocean. I'll try not to get mugged. Don't
do any of those bad things. Don't find any body parts on the beach.
I'm sure the headlines, the U.S. headlines, are startling to people outside of the U.S. as well. So I don't expect it to be that bad. Every place has bad neighborhoods, and I plan to not visit those unless I have reason to be there. So I would say over the next few days. So I leave tomorrow. I get there on Friday. Friday night there's a speaker dinner. Saturday we present. Sunday, we're going to the big statue, the big Christ Redeemer statue, Jesus, and that takes us on a trolley that goes, up above the mountains and stuff. Yeah, it's like a 10-hour trip. It's like a 10-hour day. They pick you up at the hotel, and
it looks like it's right next to the city, but it ain't.
It's not. Yeah, it's a ride. It's a ride for sure. So. Look for pictures. I will definitely be sharing pictures and as many video clips as I can, given whatever data connectivity I have available to me. So,
all right, man.
Yeah, look forward to that.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. So I just want to go and just represent all you guys there at that thing.
You're gonna represent me, huh?
Yeah, I'm representing you.
I'm on vacation and represent you. That's what I'm gonna do. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, represent. That's it. That's the, that's the goal. And tell everybody's story. So that's part of my presentation is to tell the story of all the different developers in the community and to say, look, Lua made this possible, right? Lua makes it to where we can write this stuff one time and we can publish in all these different places, and not have to worry about all the intricacies of the native language. So that's the summary version.
That is the summary version. Couldn't get any shorter than that.
Yeah, but I have a bunch of stories lined up and that I want to share that kind of highlight the fact that using Corona, using Lua, you can do some really amazing things. So as evidenced by everybody in the community. So,
all right, man.
All right. Well, we'll be back when we get back from Casual Connect. Forgot where. When we get back from Casual Connect, then we'll start back with the Monday Corona Geeks.
Okay.
So
if you're totally worn out, we understand.
Yeah. No. I want to. Yeah, but I want to get back to those as soon as possible because all this travel has totally blown that apart and disrupted our schedule. And so I want to get back to that as soon as possible. So definitely be looking forward to that. And stay tuned for pictures of Rio and also for Casual Connect. I'll be taking pictures there as well. I have a whole micro studio going on. I've got like a little directional mic with a little fuzzy wind block thing on it. I've got wide angle lenses. I've got a remote clicker so I can take pictures remotely. So got lots of good gear that I can use at the event.
Trying your equipment, dude.
Yeah, for sure. That's the other concern, right? But again, we're going to
want to hear any stories about how I turned around and it was gone.
I know it. We're going from the airport to the hotel to the university to the hotel to the tour to the hotel to the airport. So
careful those in between parts.
Controlled environments.
We're We're doing controlled environments, yes, and we're definitely going to keep our stuff close to us. And we're only going to carry exactly what we need, right? Which all my little micro stuff can just kind of like it goes in my pockets and
front pockets.
Yeah, front pockets. I'll keep my hands in my pockets.
Rear pockets are no good.
Right.
Totally useless.
Right.
My parents are in Italy right now. They have like this little belt thing that they have like under like your like your shirt or something. They keep all your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you always look like you're grabbing yourself when you go to get stuff. Whoa, what are you doing, buddy? Free down here.
Well, I do have a running belt that's form fitting, very close to the body, and I do plan to wear that and put things that I need.
I joke though, but I do use that belt that you're talking about, Scott.
Yeah.
I have one of those and I use it.
Yeah. Because if somebody does, I gotta say cost you, but that sounds a little aggressive. If they do rob you, they're going to, it's going to be a smash and grab, right? They're not going to be.
Yeah. They're not going to go here, strip so I can get everything. No.
Yes. Please reveal all your crevices. Yeah.
No, they want to get in and out in like 30 seconds, or 1 minute. No jokes about the in and out now.
No, I didn't say a thing. Didn't say a word.
Get back though, and that was all I needed. Okay, I'm hanging up. We keep saying we're going to say goodbye. You have a good trip.
I will.
Awesome. See you when you get back.
All right. Take care. See you guys later. Bye.
Don't get Zika. Bye.
All right.